Hi, in my video I'm going to cover the scratch addition method, number split, lattice multiplication, and repeated subtraction. So I'll cover the repeated subtraction first, and I feel like it has better application to smaller number and larger number than it does larger number and smaller number. If you were to take 1,000 and repeated subtraction as it's divided by 5, that'd be a lot of repeated subtraction that would just be better if you had done in a long division problem. So the example I'm going to do is 300 divided by 50. And we can see that our 300 divided by 50, you can take away the 50 once, get it away. 250 twice, to equal 200, 3 times to 150, 4 times to 100, 5 times to 50, and then you can do the 50 and you have a 0 remainder to see that it goes in 6 different times to get your answer. The next method that I want to cover is the lattice multiplication. It has some really good uses, I think, in any form of multiplication. It works really well. So the first example I want to do is we're going to do 32, and you're going to create a box, and this is going to be a single digit multiplier. So you split the box because you have 2 digits, and you multiply by 4. Then you take your box and you split it going down, because this is where we're going to add up later. And you do 4 times 2, which is 8. It's a single digit, so you can add your 0. 4 times 3 is 12, so you can add here. And you move your 1 there for your tens and your singles in the lower box. And then we can go across, since we've solved all the multiplication, and we can add. So 8's going to come down. Then you got 0 and 2. And you've got 1. So that should be 128. And I'll even do it in multiplication here. And you've got 128. It works well with larger numbers too. And I'll show that one. So we've got, we'll say, 312 and 65. So we're going to have a 2-story box. And we're going to split it into 3, split it in 2, and we'll do our boxes. You can see we're going to have a much larger number. So we'll do 6 times 2 is 12. 6 times 1 is 6. And since that's a single digit, we add a 0 to the tens box. And 6 times 3 is going to be 18. Then we do the same thing with the 5. 5 times 2 is 10. 5 times 1 is 5, single digit, add a 0 to the tens place. And 5 times 3 is 15. Then we start adding across. See, we've got a 0 and we bring it down because it's the only one in that box. 5, 6, 7, 8. Bring across the 8. We got 6, 7, and then 5 makes 12. So you bring over the 2 and bring up the 1. You've got 8, 9, 10. Do the 0, bring up the 1, and you've got 2. Adding those. And your number that you get should be 20,280. And it works out really well for another method that somebody might want to use when multiplying larger numbers. The next one that I can show is the scratch addition. So on scratch addition, it was an interesting way to do an addition problem. So say you've got 7, 3, and 2. On this one, you would normally do 7 plus 3 is 10 plus 2 is 12, and you can add those up like that. But then you have to remember, you know, I have 10 in someone's mind, and then they have to go, okay, then I have 10 plus 2, and it's just a little bit much when you're adding larger numbers. Or maybe a problem that has 5 or 6 numbers in the addition problem rather than 3. But you can do 7 plus 3, which is 10. So you scratch that out, and then you bring over to 0. And you put and this is for the ones place. And then you go down, and you go 0 plus 2. Well, that's 2. So we're not bringing that right down. It just stays, and you bring that down here. And then you take your scratch and you bring it up. So I've got 1 scratch, and that's my count. So I bring it up. So we bring down our 2, since that adds up. And since there are no other numbers here, 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 or here, then you just bring down that 1, and you can get your 12. The last one I have is the number split, and you can see that in so you can see that in a few of them, but we can do this for subtraction, and you can do 84 minus 20, we'll do 24. 84 minus 24. So then we can break those down, and you can see that you might do 80 minus 20, and we can get that that is 60. Then you want to break down the ones, and you do 4 minus 4, and we can get that as a 0. So when you get both of your subtraction answers, you can then go and take your answers and add them together. So in this case, it'd be 60 plus 0, which would still be 60. But in another example, so if I wanted to make this a $21 instead of a 24, you can take the 80 minus 20, breaking down the tens, get your 60, and then you can break it down and do 4 minus 1, and you get 3. So then you add those two together, 60 plus 3, and you get 63 should be your answer. Thanks.